Hi everyone, welcome back to another Coding with Luce episode. So, the past couple of episodes we've been looking at different Twilio content. So we looked at Twilio CLI and then last week we did the Twilio Conversations API, and that's great and we love Twilio, but I love Xamarin too. Now, one of the things that's kind of on my bucket list for this year, whether you want to call it bucket list, goals list, dreams list, anyway, one of the things I really want to achieve this year is contributing something code related to Xamarin.Forms. Now, I've not done that yet. That's still a work in progress. However, I did clone the Xamarin.Forms repository recently onto my laptop and started to look at it, and I hit some problems where it wasn't building and I wasn't expecting it, and I actually set up a call a couple of weeks ago with the great Gerald, who now works on the Xamarin.Forms team. I would attempt to say his surname because I think I know how you say it, but so many people butcher it, I won't try. But I will drop a link to his Twitter in the video description. But Gerald and I had an office hours call, as they call it, so I booked in some time in his calendar, and we just took 30 minutes to talk through it. So he just took me through some of the stuff that I was trying to get to grips with, and I thought I would just share with you what I learned from that experience. So I'm here in the Xamarin.Forms project. This is on Mac. So actually what you do once you've cloned the project is you don't actually just open the solution file. There's actually a script in the directory. So if I just quickly do list, you'll see here, excuse me, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of projects, but the one that we're interested in here is this build.sh script. Just clear that again. So if we just do .build.sh, then one of the things that we need to do is then do -- target, and we want to do VS Mac. Now, I will show you afterwards what guides I was following to show me that I have to do this, and I will put those links in the video description as well. But for now, just trust me that you have to do that. That will go off and start doing the build process and everything, and then once it's finished it will actually open the project Xamarin.Forms project for you in Visual Studio for Mac. So once we do that, then I'll show you the solution and just a few things that I learned along the way. So obviously there's lots of projects to build, so it takes a few minutes. Oh, that's not good. That might not have anything to worry about. Oh yeah, that's okay. We expected that. I'll come on to that in a minute. All that error is related to what I want to explain to you afterwards, but we'll just wait for all this to finish. Takes a few minutes. But once it's done, as I said, it will load the solution for you automatically in Visual Studio for Mac. In fact, while we wait for that, I might as well just take you through some of the useful documentation. So, just wait for that to load. So, this is a Xamarin.Forms project. There's issues. So issues is where you'd start if you want to actually have a look at something you maybe want to fix. And there's lots of, they apply labels to lots of them. So there's some really useful ones, like help wanted, and other ones, and you can always just click labels to have a look at what labels they've got, and there's loads of them. But yeah, so I think that's better. That's the labels button I wanted. That's much easier. So that will take you to a list of all the labels that they can add to issues, and there's normally one for help wanted and all that stuff. There you go. And community sprint is always a good one. But yeah, so you can go through and you can kind of see some of the labels that you can get. So you pick an issue that you want to work on. But one of the things that's useful is here in the README, which is getting started. So this is just in the README for the root Xamarin.Forms project on GitHub, and this is the bit that I was telling you about, that it says for Visual Studio for Mac you have to do this. Now, some of the other instructions didn't work for me, and if I invested more time in it, maybe I could fix it, but the reason it's okay is because it doesn't actually matter. So you saw in the build, if it will let me scroll back far enough, no. Okay, you saw in the build that when it attempted to build some of the Xamarin.Forms solution, that it failed to build. And actually, believe it or not, that doesn't matter. So you've got all these different folders here, and it's some of these ones that don't build. And I was like, oh, great, I can't even get started because it doesn't build when I expect it to. And that was actually the main reason for me setting up the office hours with Gerald, is because of the fact that it wasn't loading. So I'll just close all these windows. We don't have any of these open right now. I'll come to those shortly. So this is just obviously because I've had the solution open before. It's just going back to where I was. But we've got all these different projects here, and don't worry about these ones that don't build, it's not a problem. So we've got all these projects here. As I said, when I ran build and the whole solution, it failed. And I was like, oh no, that's not good. But it turns out it doesn't matter, because this whole project is set up in a very clever way. So the main project that we care about, as you could probably guess from what was open when the solution opened, is this control gallery project. What this is it's platform sort of controls for each project. So, for example, we could load the iOS one. So if we do that and click here, what that will do is that will actually generate a application where you can then scroll through things, and this will build. So as long as the Xamarin.Forms control gallery projects build, don't worry about the rest, because this is actually the kind of core part of working on PRs. So that will take a few minutes. So while it does that, I'll just pop back to here where we were. Ignore that. That's okay. It's not actually non-responsive, it's just slow. So here, as I said, we've got the README and the root of the project, and then there's also a contributing guide. So that just got, the code of conduct, any prerequisites that you need on your GitHub account. Then, yeah, it discusses different types of issues and how you can get started with it. So it's a very useful document. I'll drop all the links in the video description. And then, as well, here, there was a beginner's guide to contributing, which is here. So this is actually quite old now. Over 2 years, amazingly. But this is a blog post that David Ortonow wrote about, obviously, a beginner's guide to contributing. So it just talks you through, silly things like, important things like the code styling requirements. Code styling might not be the first thing you think of when you're looking to take on a project like this, like, doing a PR in Xamarin.Forms. But it's, it is important, and when you have a kind of a solution that size, it is important that you start to apply some consistency in terms of styling. And then you've also got the bit that takes you through the orientation. So that's the bit that I'm going to take you through today. So as I mentioned, control gallery is the main one that's of importance. So that's what we'll focus on, because we don't like these episodes to be too long. But yeah, you can look through this guide, and it will talk you through the different projects in the solution and explain what they mean, and then it takes you through kind of how to fix a bug. So let's just see if that's loaded now. Nope. Has it actually crashed? Ah, see? Oh, come on. It's just not my day. See what it's doing. Oh no, it's thinking about it. Possibly. Okay, yeah, no, so it's still alive, it's just taking a while to build. But that's okay, because running the control gallery isn't necessary right now, so we can, when that runs on the iOS simulator, I can show you. But as I said, the main thing of importance here is the control gallery. So here we've got this one which is, can we zoom in on the, yeah, there we go, let's just make that a bit wider. So we have this Xamarin.Forms controls issue project, and as you can imagine, this is all the issues. So when you go on GitHub and you find a issue that you want to work on, it's kind of here that is the basis for what you do. So I try and open one up. So what's kind of clever is that the Xamarin.Forms solutions kind of got some stuff set up with reflection and what have you to kind of do some tests automatically. So when you want to recreate an issue, so these are all the Bugzilla ones from back when Xamarin was a startup and used Bugzilla, but also now they use GitHub. So let's just pick, I don't know, let's pick an issue. There isn't a 1903 like the Windows version, okay. 1900, let's have a look at that. I've picked it at random. But yeah, see here, so you've got some stuff to do with UI test because it's automatically picking it up for you. So all you need to worry about when you pick up a ticket is to add this create a class with the name of the issue that you're creating. And this is where that clever reflection stuff comes in. So as long as you inherit from test content page or some other type of content page that you can see under the controls project, as long as you do that, it will automatically include them in the kind of the tests part of things. So as I said, this really is the crux of what matters. So you create a new class with the issue number. Make sure you add this attribute here called issue, which is part of the, that doesn't say what library it's from, but anyway, yeah. So just add this issue attribute to it, and then obviously issue tracker, whether it's a GitHub or there's other types of issue, the number, and then the title of what's happening and what platforms are affected. Oh, there we go. So the control gallery is loading. We'll just give that a few minutes. So then what you start to do is you actually start to recreate the the issue. So if it's something like a control specific issue, then obviously you just add the control that you want. So you build up, so it's actually in here that you start to put together the different pieces that you want to build up a UI. So in here, they've started to generate some components. So they've got a list view, and then they start to build the stack layout. Now this one is one of the key things, this label. So this test isn't about a label, I don't think. Yeah, no, it's about a list view. But the reason you put the label in, and this is something that is really helpful that I recommend, well, not even recommend, I've been advised that everyone does on every issue, and so I'll pass it on to you, is to add a label. So, you just have to kind of describe what's happening or what you expect to happen. You'll see lots of examples of what people have put in the label throughout, but they've just made sure that in their stack layout, it starts with a label describing what they expect to happen or what to expect not to happen, and then actually build the components up. And obviously each issue will be of different complexity depending on the the scope of the issue and sort of how many controls are involved, but they're all the same. So if we just pick another one at random, we go much more recently, 3624, again it follows the same. You have the issue attribute with the number, a description. If it doesn't target only a specific platform, you don't have to pop it at the end there. It inherits from test content page, and like you see here, someone's actually helpfully added that you can also do stuff like test master detail page, etc. And then they've started to do the build up the content again. Now some people have done this in XAML, so if you're more comfortable in XAML you can, but obviously you're only doing a small amount of UI, so it's fairly straightforward to do it in code. So they've got a button and they've got another button. So they've added some buttons here. Now what this one is missing actually is the label, so that was a poor example, but it's not something they enforce, but it's encouraged because it's just really helpful when you look at it. Here we've got one here with a label. Let's have a look. Nope. We're not having much luck today. Let's try. Okay, so another example. It doesn't have a label. However, I know. Or does it not? Or does it? No, it doesn't appear to have a label. Okay. This one was actually done by Gerald, as I learned in our office hours. I don't know if this was the issue that we opened, but Gerald informed me that bibbidi bobbidi boo is what he puts in. So if you see that, it's an issue written by him. So let's just pick another one. Okay, so lots of these aren't adding a label. Oh, this one does. There you go. So it's not in all of them because it's not something that they're enforcing, but it is super helpful to just have that there. So let's just have a look at our simulator. Here we go. So when you load the gallery, this is what you get. So you get all sorts of different things, but the main one you want to click is go to test cases, because if you do that, you can then filter it or you can search. So we could go to one of the issues we saw earlier. So we could do, for example, 1900. And then there you go. That is what you saw. That's that label I mentioned. And then here's some test cases. So it's not failing anymore, which means that either the person that wrote this issue or someone else has fixed this and submitted a PR. Awesome. But that's just really helpful because it means that you can just come into here, you can find the bug, and then that's where you actually see it happening. So yeah, you know that if the issue that you're facing is only on Android, for example, then you don't need to worry about loading an iOS simulator. Just load the Android simulator, follow the same rules of finding the issue, and then, you'll be able to see it recreated. And it's as simple as that, really. There's so many other projects, and when it comes to actually working on the issue, if you find it, that's for another episode because I haven't got that far yet. But in terms of just how you get started creating an issue to reproduce what you've seen on GitHub, this is the best place to start, is in the Xamarin.Forms controls issues project. So as I contribute, I will try and share more about my experiences, but for now, yeah, this is just a quick guide. Just remember, add a label, come in here, have a look at some of the previous ones to get an idea. Try and pick something from GitHub that you think is something that you're able to do or you're interested in. And obviously, more importantly, reach out to the community and the Xamarin.Forms team. I know certainly Gerald started office hours, and I think I was his first ever office hours because I put the idea to him. So, and it was so easy to sort out. They've always got time to help you. Just drop them an email, tweet them, I don't know, praise their names at a bonfire, I don't know. Just, reach out to them in whatever way you want, whether, as I said, that's Twitter, email, setting up a call with them. Just reach out and they'll offer you some help. But for now, that is how you get started recreating an issue that you want to work on Xamarin.Forms.